This is the Generations Interview Project. This is my mother. Will you please state your name?
Cherie Stratton Picard.
Will you please state your age?
50.
This is question one. What was the biggest music sensation at the time?
Oh my gosh, early 80s would have been Duran Duran. And then later 80s, I really liked the hair band music, Bon Jovi and Great White, Metallica. I guess they were harder rock stuff. But yeah, like Motley Crue, Def Leppard. I liked all that stuff when I was a teenager.
Number two. Who were the big celebrities?
Oh my gosh. So big celebrities. Of course, Tom Cruise was in Top Gun. That was big. Michael J. Fox, all the Back to the Future movies. I saw those at the theater. Molly Ringwald, all the Brat Pack people that were in all the movies in the 80s. Um, oh my gosh. I'm trying to think who else. Whew, yeah. I think that's the big ones.
Number three. What was the fashion like?
Oh my gosh. Early 80s was like neon kind of stuff, but I think people forget about like the later 80s. It was ripped jeans, which I'm seeing is back right now, like really tight legged ripped jeans, concert t-shirts. Oh gosh, we had big hair. We had really big hair. My best friend had her hair was so big that it barely fit in the frame of the picture for the yearbook. So yeah, the turned up collars, like acid wash jeans, like the real, like really whitewashed jeans were big. Lots of denim, fringe. Like oh my god, the fringe Bon Jovi jackets. I had two suede jackets with fringe.
Number four. What were your hobbies like as a teenager?
I was a dancer. I did ballet, tap, and jazz. I taught at the dance studio as well, so I did that a lot. I love to read. I read a lot as a kid. Um, love Stephen King. I think I read all the Stephen King books when I was a teenager, and everything new right as it came out from like 1985 forward. Um, my parents had old cars, so we used to go to car shows a lot. So we did that, and they had 50s dances at the car shows, so we would do like 50s dances, like, and that was pretty fun.
Number five. What were your hobby? I mean, what were your parents like?
I had pretty good parents. My mom and dad were awesome. They were still married. They were married till my dad died 5 years ago. Um, they were a lot of fun. Everybody wanted to be at our house, so it was never just me and my brother. There were kids at our house all the time. Neighbor kids, my brother's friends, my friends. Our house was always full of teenagers. Even when I would come home from college, my brother's friends would be there. So yeah, it was a cool household with lots of kids. My parents were definitely willing to take us all to the mall, or my brother played baseball, so my dad would bring half the baseball team home with him sometimes on the weekend. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had good parents.
Um, Number six. What was your first job and how much did you make?
Very first job was babysitting for like $5 a day. Back, I used to babysit my brother. Then I think the first job I had, oh, I also worked at the baseball park. Worked the concession stand for like 4 hours for, I think it was like $20, which was big money at the time. I think my first job, minimum wage was about 4.25 an hour. I worked as a hostess in a restaurant. I worked at the Publix warehouse in the refrigerated area, and I believe we made about $5 an hour. And that was I was like 17. I guess now they won't even hire 17-year-olds anymore. Um, so yeah, I worked at the dance studio as a dance teacher, but that just like paid for my classes for the most part. So yeah, but I think 4.25 was around the minimum wage when I was a teenager.
Seven. What was dating like?
Dating, oh my goodness. So I think we dated, but like when I was younger, we would go out in like kind of groups of people. I wasn't allowed to date by myself till I was 16, and then of course the young man taking me out had to meet my parents and whatnot, and I had to be home at 10 on school nights and midnight on the weekends. When I was a little bit older teenager, I actually had a boyfriend who was older than me. He was like 19 and out of school, but he was a neighbor, so someone who'd lived down the street from us.
And how old were you at the time?
Uh, 16 and 17. Yeah, I know. 80s were a different time. We're actually still friends to this day. Um, yeah, but my parents, they wanted to know where I was, and we didn't have cell phones or stuff, so it you I normally told my parents the truth about where I was going. So, and one of my old boyfriends, Jamie, when we're still really close friends. So yeah, it was fun, but we did go out as groups and did group stuff a lot together.
Number 8, what was your schooling like?
I went to school here in Jacksonville. I went to Ed White High School. I went to junior high at a private school, but then when I started high school, I went to public school. Private school was private school. We had to wear dresses. I went to Trinity, and we had to wear dresses, and they were pretty strict. But I think I got a very good education. When I went to public school, um, I took some AP classes, some not. Well, it was good. I mean, we had normal stuff, occasional fights and whatnot, but it was pretty cool. In school, I was in the journalism class, so I worked on the school newspaper. I was the photographer for the school newspaper, so I was in some clubs and things like that. Help build a giant homecoming float one year. It was cool. I had great teachers. I had some really cool teachers who were really influenced me, and that I still think about today. So, I think teachers in general are pretty dedicated, and high school teachers are a special kind of person.
Is that all you have to say?
I guess so. Yeah, I liked going to school. I enjoyed going to school in high school and whatnot. I really liked it.
Number 9, what do you think is the main difference between teenagers today and teenagers back then?
I think because we didn't have cell phones and we didn't have the internet, my teenage years, you had to figure out how things worked on your own. You couldn't Google it, and you didn't expect anyone else to tell you because they probably didn't know either. The kind of the mess around and find out generation. So we, figured things out. I think for ourselves a lot more. Also, I don't. Our parents didn't hover as much as parents do now. I don't think, and we were kind of left to our own devices more. So you figured things out. Um, I guess some people think that could be more dangerous, but also I feel like we had to figure things out on our own a lot more than kids do nowadays. Um, I think we respected older people more. I understand that the new generation kind of feels like that respect needs to be earned and not just given straight out.
Mhm.
But I feel like maybe, especially when it comes to teachers, that kids should start with a level of respect, and then, if things don't go well, then you can move down. But I think you need to start at a level of respect for teachers. I think it's so hard. Um, Viv's stepdad's a teacher, and he's just overwhelmed right now because the kids just don't listen at all. And I think the devices, I think your generation is okay pretty much, but like every time I see a kid under the age of like 2 now, or over the age of 2, they have a computer in their hand or a tablet or something. And I think that's getting them to where the instant gratification is like so quick that when they start school at kindergarten or first grade, that they don't know how to pay attention as well. So I think that's one of the biggest difference. We weren't entertained 24/7 at all, and we kind of had to make our own entertainment. So that's a big difference. But I do love how your generation questions things a little bit more than we did, a lot more. Um, I think you guys are going to change things. You guys are questioning a lot of the status quo and kind of fighting back against that. And I think one of the things I tell you all the time is like, yeah, you got to pick your battles though. Don't fight everything, but it is good to fight injustice and question the world around you. I think that's a very good thing that's much more prevalent now than when I was a kid.
Um, Question number 10. This is the last question. Did you have a good childhood?
I had a very good childhood. I had the typical '80s childhood. So yeah, I had a really good childhood. I had good parents. I was very lucky. We were middle class. I went to a high school with kids who had, some of them had more money, some of them had less, but I really felt like I had a good childhood. I had to work for things. I didn't get just given stuff, but I did get a car. I did get a car when I was 16. Um, I had to help pay for it. I had to run my brother to school and back and things like that. But so um, I got a lot as a kid, but I didn't get too much, I think. And I had really, really, really great parents. I mean, I can't say enough about how awesome my parents are. I was very, very lucky.
Is that it?
Yep.
Thank you for this interview.
You're welcome.